Imagine your mind as a battlefield. On one side stands Freud, the psychologist, who tells you that your life is ruled by unconscious desires, childhood traumas, and primal instincts. On the other side stands Nietzsche, the philosopher, who roars, "No, your life is yours to command." This is not just a clash of ideas. This is a war for your soul. Who's right? And more importantly, who do you want to be right? Picture your mind as a dark, uncharted ocean. Freud would tell you that beneath the surface of your awareness lurks a shadow self, a realm of repressed desires, forgotten traumas, and animal instincts pulling your strings like a puppet master. His famous iceberg model suggests that 90% of what drives you remains hidden, bubbling up in dreams, slips of the tongue, and neuroses. You are, in his view, a prisoner of your own unconscious. Now enter Nietzsche, kicking down the door of Freud's psychoanalytic prison. For him, the unconscious isn't a dungeon to be excavated. It's a wild frontier to conquer. His concept of the will to power declares that human beings aren't just driven by sex, trauma, or survival, Freud's pleasure principle, but by something far more primal, the hunger to expand, dominate, and create. Freud's man is a patient, lying on a couch, unraveling childhood memories to explain why he's broken. Nietzsche's man is a warrior, standing atop a mountain of his own making, roaring, "I choose my destiny." Freud wants you to dig up the past. Nietzsche wants you to invent the future. But here's the twist. Freud isn't entirely wrong. We are shaped by forces we don't fully understand. But Nietzsche's genius was in reframing those forces not as chains, but as raw energy to be harnessed. A childhood trauma, not just a wound, a whetstone to sharpen your will. A dark desire, not just a shameful secret, fuel for your fire. The real question isn't, what unconscious forces control me? It's, what will I do with them? Freud gives you a map of your chains. Nietzsche hands you a hammer and says, break them or forge them into something greater. So, which will it be? Imagine your psyche as a kingdom at war. Freud maps this internal battleground with clinical precision. The id, a ravenous beast demanding pleasure, screaming, "I want it now." The ego, an overworked diplomat negotiating between the id's chaos and reality's demands. The superego, a tyrannical priest whispering, "You should feel guilty for wanting that." This is Freud's vision. You are a fractured self, forever torn between animal impulses and social shackles. Therapy becomes an endless peace treaty between warring factions. Now witness Nietzsche's revolution. He storms this psychological parliament with a radical alternative. The Übermensch, not a man divided, but a sovereign creator who smashes moral binaries, good, evil, pure, sinful, transforms base instincts into creative fire, answers to no authority but their own will. Where Freud sees conflict to manage, Nietzsche sees power to unleash. The critical divergence? Freud's model makes you eternally guilty. Your id wants what your superego forbids. Nietzsche's path makes you eternally responsible. Your desires aren't sins, they're tools. Consider sexual drive. Freud. Repressed libido causes neurosis. Nietzsche. Stop moralizing energy, channel it into art, conquest, creation. This isn't just philosophy, it's two opposing visions of human potential. One, Freud's prison, where you spend life analyzing your chains. Two, Nietzsche's playground, where you melt those chains into weapons. The ultimate question, will you remain Freud's patient or become Nietzsche's masterpiece? The throne of your mind awaits its true ruler. Freud's most dangerous idea was this: what you bury alive stays alive. He saw repression as a psychological time bomb. Traumas and taboo desires exiled to the unconscious would inevitably resurface as neuroses, compulsions, or hysteria. His entire psychoanalytic method was an archaeological dig into the graveyard of forgotten memories, where healing meant dragging skeletons into the light. Nietzsche's response? Stop exhuming corpses. Build monuments instead. For Nietzsche, the problem wasn't repression, it was wasteful suffering. Where Freud saw pathology to cure, Nietzsche saw raw material to sculpt. His concept of self-overcoming demanded alchemy of pain, transforming trauma into wisdom, betrayal into strength, fear into courage. Creative destruction, not just accepting your shadows, but weaponizing them. Eternal recurrence, living so intensely, you'd willingly relive every moment. Freud's patient asks, "Why am I broken?" Nietzsche's warrior asks, "How will this break me forward?" Consider depression. Freudian approach. Trace it to childhood abandonment. Nietzschean approach. Use its isolating clarity to forge unshakable self-reliance. This is the ultimate divergence. 1. Freud's path, a never-ending excavation of what was done to you two. Nietzsche's path, a relentless construction of what you choose to do. The dark truth? Both thinkers agreed suffering is inevitable, but where Freud offered a couch, Nietzsche offered a forge. Will you spend your life unraveling knots, or tying your own rope to climb higher? The most dangerous repression isn't forgetting your pain, it's forgetting your power over it. Freud saw religion as humanity's collective neurosis, a desperate fantasy to cope with our helplessness in a chaotic universe. In The Future of an Illusion, he argued that God is essentially a cosmic father figure, invented to soothe our fear of death and moral uncertainty. But Nietzsche went nuclear. God is dead, and we have killed him. For Nietzsche, this wasn't lament, it was liberation. The guilt machine. Freud's superego operates like an internalized priest, whipping you with guilt for every sinful thought or desire. His entire model of repression revolves around this self-punishing mechanism. You're forever torn between animal instincts, ID, and social condemnation, superego. Nietzsche called this slave morality, a psychological trap where the weak control the strong through invented sins. Christianity's genius, he argued, was turning strength into pride, sexuality into filth, and life itself into something requiring forgiveness. Freud's death drive versus Nietzsche's eternal yes. Freud's controversial thanatos, death drive, suggested humans secretly crave self-destruction, a return to the womb's nothingness. It explained our subconscious flirtations with failure, addiction, and war. Nietzsche would call this the ultimate surrender. His alternative? Amor fati, love of fate. Not just accepting suffering, but kissing the hand that strikes you because it forges you into something harder, brighter. Freud's world, you're guilty by default, seeking absolution. Nietzsche's world, you're free by design, seeking challenges, the aftermath of God. Both agreed religion was collapsing, but their forecasts diverged radically. Freud feared mass psychosis without the God crutch. Nietzsche rejoiced at the blank canvas for new creators. Here's the choice they present. Keep kneeling to inherited guilt, or rise and invent your own holiness. The death of God isn't a crisis. It's the universe handing you the chisel and saying, now sculpt yourself. This is where the rubber meets the road. After 4 rounds of intellectual combat between Freud and Nietzsche, we arrive at the ultimate question. Who gets to define you? Freud offers you a diagnosis. Nietzsche offers you a declaration of war. The Freudian trap. If you fully accept Freud's model, you become a permanent patient, forever dissecting childhood wounds, a passive observer of your own unconscious programming, trapped in endless analysis, mistaking understanding for transformation. There's truth here. Our past shapes us, but Freud's vision risks making you a prisoner of your own psyche, always explaining why you can't rather than discovering how you can. The Nietzschean gambit. Nietzsche's path is brutal but electrifying. Your traumas aren't life sentences, they're training grounds. Your instincts aren't demons to tame. They're dragonfire to ride. Your existence isn't a problem to solve. It's a masterpiece to carve. This isn't positive thinking. It's philosophical judo, using the weight of your suffering to throw yourself higher. The ultimate choice. The battle lines are drawn. 1. Freud's worldview. You are fundamentally broken. Healing means returning to normal. The unconscious is your warden. 2. Nietzsche's challenge. You are fundamentally unfinished. Growth means exploding past limits. The unconscious is your forge. Who really wins? Here's the secret. This isn't about choosing sides. It's about choosing levels. Freud gives you the basement, the foundation of understanding your machinery. Nietzsche gives you the stars, the reason to transcend that machinery. The integrated path. Use Freud's maps to know your chains. Use Nietzsche's hammer to shatter them. Your soul isn't a battleground, it's a construction site. Freud handed you the blueprints. Nietzsche handed you the tools. Now, who do you want to be when the dust settles? This isn't about Freud or Nietzsche. It's about Freud, then Nietzsche. First, descend into Freud's depths. Excavate your wounds, map your unconscious. But don't stay there. Nietzsche's call echoes from the peaks. Now that you know your chains, show me how gloriously you can break them. The battle for your soul isn't won by choosing a side. It's won by rising from analyst to architect, using Freud's insights as fuel for Nietzsche's fire. God is dead. The unconscious is exposed. The only question left: what godlike creation will you forge from the wreckage? The hammer is in your hand. Strike, seek wisdom.